Well, greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, and welcome to a review of Into the Dalek. And indeed, as much as they acknowledge the movie link to itself, this was Inner Space meets Doctor Who, where a band of intrepid adventurers gets miniaturized to itty bitty 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 people and placed inside the soul of a Dalek. What did we think? What did we like? What did we see? What did we appreciate? What did we hate? What did we rebel against? What did we go, about? What did we kind of go, oh my God, this is the greatest thing I have ever seen in the universe? And what did we rather wish that we hadn't seen at all? That is the question, and that is what we shall be answering over the next 30 minutes. It's great to see you. The vault is open. I think I pressed the vault button, which means you are earning 1 Addy Gold every 5 minutes. If you're watching this on YouTube, then you're not. But if you're watching me on twitch.tv/theadipose TV right now, a couple of hours after the episode has taken place, then you are. And you can use that Addy Gold for giveaways, prizes, nickname colors, and to just generally be here, you know, on the show. So if you're here live, then you're right there. I should start abusing people for not being here live. I used to do that on The Simpsons shows. People didn't like it, but I did it anyway. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about Into the Dalek. We're going to have a few friends coming on today. Looks like we're going to have Matthias. Looks like we're going to have Vilidan. Looks like we're going to have Magical Mystery. And if I've missed anyone else out, I am sorry. Oh, and of course, Clary. Clary is, right at this moment, is getting blessed little Izzy to bed. But she is, she's definitely going to join us, and she will be along whenever she can. And from looking at the YouTube comments last week, I put this show onto YouTube afterwards. Most people seem to say, yes, we agree with everything that Clary said. Don't like what you said, Daddy, but Clary's got her finger on the pulse. So we'll have to see if the same comes along tonight. Okay, so shall I start with what I think, or shall we start with what some other people thinks? Let's get some other people in. Let's get Matthias in and to see what he thinks about it. So if you are coming on the show tonight, first of all, thank you so much for coming. It's going to be great to have you here. But could you make sure that you mute the stream when you come on and just listen to me through Skype, which is why I do the interviews kind of through, because that way you'll be hearing me kind of in time, and you'll also be making sure there's not kind of doubling up on the stream. So please mute the stream and all those kind of things, and we should get a good quality little review. Just making sure my settings are right. Okay, so this is Matthias, who's a regular on our little posse up here, speaking in red. Matthias, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Fantastic, and I can hear you too. Would you mind just counting to 10 so I can just check some volumes?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, looks great. Looks perfect. Okay, so Into the Dalek. Were you into it? What do you think?
I liked the episode most of the time. I was a little bit perplexed about when they entered the Dalek. It looked like the 70s psychedelic. They were all stretched out. Looked a little awkward, and I thought, no, I hope they don't go on that way.
Do you mean the bit where they went through the eye
yes,
stalk?
Right.
Like, oh, I really like that. I thought it was quite, because they started with the Doctor, like with his hand, like slowly kind of reaching through it and stuff. I do know what you mean about it being a slightly kind of old-fashioned look, but I thought he looked kind of cool.
No, the effect was cool, but I thought, no, I hope they don't keep that up through the whole show.
Which they didn't.
Fortunately, they didn't. Yes. I like the reference that they made to the movie Inner. What was that? Inner Space.
Yes, they. I mean, the plot line was effectively lifted from Inner Space, wasn't it? Which is a probably showing our age here, 1980s movie. But they just kind of dismissed it by kind of going, "Oh yeah, that would make a good movie," and then moving on, really, didn't they?
Yeah, because that's what I meant. Capaldi really said that would be a good plot for a movie, and I was like, "Oh my God, that was obviously a reference to the Inner Space movie."
But I think it's good, because I think the last week's Doctor Who was very self-aware. So I've just moved the microphone slightly away from the camera there. I think there was a slight echo from Matthias, which was, I don't think that was you. I think that was me. I think your speakers were coming out here and coming in there. So I think just let me know if that's any better, guys that are watching. And let me just crop the image slightly so you don't have to have the excitement of seeing the. Oh no, that's bad. That's bad. That's bad. Uh-oh. So I'm just trying to people are getting a really exciting shot of my microphone here, which is probably not what they want. and a load of cat food boxes. Wow, that looks bad. I need to tidy that up. Sorry, what were we talking about, Matthias? I've been completely gone completely off topic there.
What I was trying to say was, like I said last week, in the first episode, I loved seeing Peter Capaldi, but I was critical on how he would evolve over the series. And in this second episode, he still is one of my favorites. He didn't really let me down today. He practically backed up his performance from last week. He is not that action-oriented Doctor, but he still is one of my favorites so far.
He definitely seems to kind of like I don't know how to kind of describe it, but he like it's a very self-aware show with him in it. Like he like last week they were openly acknowledging his Scottish accent, and then they openly acknowledged his they openly acknowledged the fact that he was older, and now they're openly acknowledged that they're ripping off a kind of a movie. You know, it's very kind of like, yeah, we know.
Yeah. And the idea, the whole plot of this episode, I liked. Especially about this thing having a good Dalek. I was like, is that really possible?
Jenny's just saying naughty things in the chat. Stop it. PG. So you liked the idea of going into the Dalek?
Yes, I did. I don't know about you.
I did on first glance as well. I mean, it is a cool idea. As far as I know, they've never done that idea before. And it was... My hesitation with the Dalek episodes is always that it's just going to turn into a shoot fest. And I'm not saying this episode didn't, but but the setup was at least different. You know, is it a good Dalek? Is it a... and kind of exploring inside it was something new, I felt.
It got a shot fest at the end of the episode when they tried to defend the ship. And all the Daleks creeped in and shot everybody. But for me, the whole time over the show, I was asking myself, how are they going to get out of that predicament? And this turn of the Dalek turning on his own race was something I didn't really expect at the middle of the show.
No, that was new. Although they have done Dalek Wars before, back in the Sylvester McCoy era. He says doing a scrub style look to the corners there. But they're definitely in the modern era. They have. I don't think they've done Dalek on Dalek, which was quite cool. I don't know if I didn't see it coming though, because the whole kind of like plot line was based around this Dalek being a good Dalek. So I think it was.
I always had
the most likely outcome that they would try and persuade this Dalek to fight with them, isn't it? Wasn't it?
I always had the impression that somehow he's going to upload this this conscience of the Dalek onto the other Daleks, and so they all turn good in the end. But that's just me. That's what I thought would happen.
Apparently, there's some book somewhere. I don't know if you were here when we did a Doctor Who Legacy stream a few weeks ago, and ended up talking about Catholic Daleks. And I was having a chat with Lee after the stream, and he was telling me that there's some book. One of the Doctor Who books is about religious Daleks. Like the Doctor goes to this like world, and the Daleks are there, but they've kind of found some sort of kind of faith, and it's made them like Dalek pacifists, and the whole plotline's based around it. And I was kind of like, oh, that's a really cool idea. And this was kind of explored the idea of Dalek morality, but. I don't know, I wasn't so keen on the whole, like, I saw a star explode thing, but I did like the whole life kind of finds a way idea.
Yes, it was this thing with the star exploding was, or being born was a little cheesy, but I really liked the way they did it. I
suppose they needed to pick something that they could do, like... a really, really quick idea that adults can understand and also kids can understand, and so it worked. It was probably more of a means to an end than anything else.
I think what they did with this Life Finds a Way was a little bit like Jurassic Park.
Yeah, it's chaos theory with Ian Malcolm, isn't it?
Exactly.
Put a drop of water on their hand and look, it's run down a different way this time. See, life finds a way. That kind of thing. Although he didn't come from Texas, but still, yeah, it was that idea. Yes. Which is cool. So overall, what did you think of the episodes? Like, good episode, great episode, not so good, in the middle, average?
Since it's the second episode of the season, I won't give it a too high of a rating because I don't know how it turns out. It could be that I would have to change my mind when I see the rest of the series. But for this season so far, I would give it a 7 out of 10.
Would you think it was as good as last week?
I would say yes. And in this episode, you see that this whole thing with this man going to heaven that they started in the first episode is a build-up to something in the end, in the last episode.
Yeah, that's definitely going to like our ongoing series arc plot line. And I'm sure we'll just get little references here and there until some sort of kind of finale based around it. But that's cool.
Yes.
And it's good. It's good for to have the individual plot lines and then something that kind of bolts the whole lot together. I think is good. Anyway, thank you for joining us on tonight's show, Matthias. It's great to have you on here again.
I'm going to go back to Twitch.
All right, mate. I'll catch you soon.
Bye.
Okay, let's bring on Magical, who was on the show last week with Small Blue Monkey. Small Blue Monkey, don't know if you're able to join us again this week. I don't know if you are with Mike or not with Mike, but you are obviously welcome as well, either by yourself or kind of during. But it's always good to get some kind of fresh blood on it. But while Magical's getting ready, just muting the stream and all that kind of stuff, I'm mixed on this one. I think Clary will come out and give her kind of views in a minute. I liked the idea that this was something new, kind of exploring through a Dalek, but they've done this idea of good Dalek switching bad kind of before. If you remember the victory Daleks, the Winston Churchill World War II Daleks, then the Daleks were there and they were kind of like, oh my god, these Daleks, and they're good, and then all of a sudden they switched to bad. And this again was the kind of idea of, oh look, it's a Dalek but it's good, and then it switched to bad. And I feel the Daleks, I feel with Dalek episodes you always get something that sets it up, something that kind of makes you go, ooh, this is different. And then it just goes back to a big kind of shoot fest. And they did that in the episode I just mentioned with the Churchill one, and they did it tonight, and they kind of did it in the original Dalek episode, but that was kind of different because it was just one Dalek, and it was probably the first time they did it. So I will, I'll let that one off of being part of that pattern. But do you guys know what I mean? It still follows that pattern, but then again with a character like Daleks, maybe they just are kind of like shooty monsters. However, I do think that with a new Doctor, especially one that's a bit kind of like, oh, he's a bit old, he's a bit Scottish, giving a kind of a regularly seen enemy is probably a popular move, because someone might kind of, if someone watched last week and wasn't sure, they might be kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to watch next week. I'm not sure I like the Doctor. Oh, but hang on, the Daleks are on, which is something that's part of Doctor Who lore. So it's probably quite a strategic decision, to kind of put it on to, so for those people that were, because I know lots of people loved Capaldi, but not everyone did, and lots of people loved last week's episode, not everyone did. So maybe the Dalek episode was a strategic choice of kind of like, well, let's make sure people tune in next week for the second one by putting in a famous enemy. I can't remember what the second Matt Smith episode is. I wonder maybe if you guys could remind me. But the second David Tennant one was the New Earth. So that was something quite new, wasn't it? Second Matt Smith one, I'm not so sure, but this was probably always Meet the Weirdos just kind of said a safe bet, and I think maybe that's what they're kind of going for. Right, let's see if we can get Magical on the show with us this evening. Hopefully mics and all that kind of lot are gonna work. I am calling. Hello, this is England calling, but she has not yet picked up, so I will keep. Oh no, we might have her. Hello. Hey, Magical, how you doing?
I'm okay.
Hey, I can hear you and I can actually see you there as well. Hello. Give you just count to 10 for me so I can just check your mic level, please.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that's perfect. That is perfect. Cool. So, what did you think? I'm undecided at the moment. Matthias seems to think it was really it was a good one. What are your thoughts?
I actually rather enjoyed this one. I wasn't really sure what to think about it at first because it started a bit weird, but then this is Doctor Who, so we can expect this.
That was a beautiful little orchestra in the background there. Thank you.
Yes, sorry about that. That's the highlights. People talking to me.
That's fine.
Yeah, I rather enjoyed that. And my son, who was sitting next to me, also was bouncing up and down in his seat through most of the show. He was seriously enjoying it.
So your son really enjoyed it?
Oh, yes. He's 11 now, so actually probably, about the right age group.
Well, I think Doctor Who always has to do this interesting balance of entertaining the adults and entertaining the kids, and for every kind of like midnight, which I love perhaps as an older viewer, there needs to be kind of a doomsday, and for every kind of blink there needs to be a running around after the Lazarus monsters. So they, I don't expect every week to be a psychological thriller, so maybe sometimes there needs to be a shoot. Let me just welcome Clary to the stream. She just popped in on from the sides.
Hello.
How's Izzy doing?
Yeah, she's asleep.
Good. Sleeping Izzy. This is Magical.
Hello, Magical.
Hello.
Magical's not quite sure about the episode, so you're saying your kids loved it, but you weren't quite sure. Do you want to say a bit more about why?
I started out a bit not sure because I thought, suddenly all the shooting and stuff and arresting him and stuff, it seemed a bit weird at first, but then this is Doctor Who, as I said, and that's usually weird stuff. Yeah, but in the end I did enjoy the programme, and it was, it kept me interested, and I want to see the rest.
Good. Well, that's the main thing. Is if you want to come back next week, it's probably done its job. Did you think that the this idea of is the Doctor a good man, is the Dalek a good man was an interesting feature?
I don't think that you can actually call the Doctor good. He's more of a person who does stuff because it needs to be done, and you don't need to be good or bad to do it.
I don't know. I have a problem with this one in the and I don't know what I'm interested in what Clara think about it as well. But like who is more good than the Doctor? Like, I mean, everyone has little crises these days and kind of questions themselves or whatever. But like, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head things that the Doctor have done, and it's like saved the reality in the universe many times. He always goes out of his way to like save human individuals. Even just like one individual, he'll try and save them, and his enemies often use it against him, don't they? They kind of say, "Well, I know that you won't let that guy die, because you're good." And if you think back to the Doctor's recent history, he spent approaching 1,000 years in a town called Christmas on a planet called Trenzalore just to save one little village from a kind of a Dalek spaceship. And it's like, can we really question that as a good bad man?
If it wasn't for the Doctor, none of that would have been happening in the first place. Everyone who touches the Doctor is in danger because he is inherently dangerous.
This is true, and
that's what gives rise to the question: is the Doctor good or is the Doctor not good?
And we saw that. We were watching Love and Monsters the other day, and we're seeing how, which I think is an episode that kind of explores this idea of, what happens to the people that touch the Doctor, and I do accept that. But like, surely from the Doctor's own personal morality, he's good, isn't he?
I see you're asking.
Oh, I am. Tell me, Clary.
Be a pal.
Be a pal, Clary. But that was where that line came from, because that was the one in the trailer. So it was nice to see that one, kind of popping up. What did you think of Mr. Pink? Magical.
Is that the school teacher?
Yeah.
Right.
He's got secrets. He's got lots of secrets, and I think we're going to find out about those soon.
He also, he seems to be I was wondering if he was going to join them on their adventure today, but obviously that wasn't to be. So he must be a character that's going to pop up from, I'm sure at some point he's going to interact with the Doctor, because he clearly has a reason to be there. Which is cool. Any other thoughts you'd like to share with us, Magical?
It's actually thinking quickly and failing.
Sorry.
No, I think that's the one thing that I really thought was a disappointment was that they didn't show them getting out of the Dalek. I And I would have liked
A few people have mentioned that in the chat. Actually, a lot of them were kind of saying, "Hang on, they just suddenly kind of walked on and went, we're out there then." So what bothered you about that? What
the fact that they entirely glossed over it and didn't even mention that they, what they'd done. It would have been nice to see them hit their wrists or something and activate the thing, because although they said they could do it, they didn't show it happening, and that's a bit of a missed opportunity.
It did feel a little bit like a missing scene, but I mean, plot line wise, you kind of fill in the blanks yourself, don't you? You kind of go, well, they got out and they pressed the thing, but it does. Yeah, it did feel a little bit like, oh, we've done that, so we'll move on then. Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us again tonight, Magical.
Can I just congratulate you on your very tidy home in the background and apologise for
with the
litter that seems to be cluttering about.
No, we're going to recycle the cat stuff.
Camera.
How embarrassing! You could have cleared that up before
I've been trying. Well, I tried to sit in front of it,
but then dirty laundry.
No, that's
you.
clean. That's clean laundry.
And what's that then? No, that's dirty. Oh.
No, that's my school stuff ready for school. That's the cat crap.
And there's Mount Thread, which is my stack of thread boxes over on the side. There's
well, as long as you know where everything is, it's tidy, isn't it? That's the main thing. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us again. All right, take care, and I'll catch you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, Clary.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay, so here's the thing. I heard you say, whilst I was in the next room putting Izzy to bed, I heard you say, Clara's going to have some things to say on this episode.
Yeah.
Problem is, as soon as someone gets a gun out and starts shooting a Dalek, I go to a happy place in my mind, and therefore I don't really have anything to say on this episode because I'm not really sure what happened. I mean,
they shot at Daleks. The Daleks were invulnerable mostly.
And I get that there was like laser shooters.
Yeah.
Which that annoyed me actually.
Lasers.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is why laser shooters annoyed me.
Okay.
Because you know how Doctor Who is like generally quite anti-guns.
As the character.
The Doctor.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know whether this Doctor is going to be anti-guns.
Yeah.
We know that the 10th Doctor is very much anti-guns. But as a general rule, the Doctor Who doesn't get out a lot of guns and it is quite critical about them.
Yeah.
So what they did to get around that today is they got out lasers. And I think that's just a cheap get-around.
Oh, hang on, but the Doctor Who show has never been against...
But it doesn't have a lot of guns in it.
But like thinking...
And it kind of markets it as a more family show.
No. But the Daleks shoot people with lasers all the time.
It isn't a family show.
Well, no, it is a family show, but like the Daleks shoot lasers, the Cybermen grab people from behind.
Yeah, but the Daleks shooting lasers is because that's kind of a part of who the Daleks are. That's like a part of their hardware. But you don't see people with guns very much.
You don't see them very much, but there are episodes where like humanity tries to defend itself. It does happen.
But you're not those big shootouts with guns like you do in kind of American programs.
They're rare.
So I kind of feel like if they're going to have big shootouts, then just admit that that's what they're doing and get some guns out. Don't like try and fob us off with lasers. They're the same thing essentially. Like, I couldn't. I just don't like big Dalek-y shooty outy things. I like the first kind of 5 minutes.
Yeah. What about the kind of exploring of the Dalek? No.
I liked the concept, the idea that a Dalek's turned good. That's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Exploring the Dalek itself, all I could see was, when you've got a really cheap washing machine. No, sorry. I didn't mean washing machine.
I haven't had many washing machines in my life to kind of judge the poshness of them.
I actually meant tumble dryer, not washing machine.
Okay. Like in that case, yes, I know completely what you're talking about.
It's not plumbed into the wall.
Yes.
So you have to put that tube out the window.
Yes.
That's clearly what the Daleks' brains were made of.
Right.
So
That's true.
And all I could think was, crap, have I dried my clothes?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, that is true. What about? Okay, how about this? Because last week they had I think this series might be about parallels.
Okay.
Last week we had a robot that was made into a man, and this idea of being replaced, because the robot was replacing itself all the time, and the Doctor was asking at one point, well, are you even the same creature that you were before? Yada yada yada. But that had massive parallels with the Doctor, who was also questioning, was he the same person as he was before, because he'd been replaced and renewed and all those kind of things. And then this week we have another parallel of a Dalek questioning, am I a good Dalek? Am I a bad Dalek? And a Doctor also questioning whether he's a good person or a bad person. And that's quite a nice idea, having this kind of parallels going on at the time. So these enemies are kind of mirroring back to the Doctor who he might potentially be or his personality. It's deep.
It's deep, but also kind of boring.
Why?
I kind of like, as I said, I like the concept of the episode, but the actual episode itself, I got kind of bored in. I did still like the development of the Doctor's character.
Yeah.
And the exploration of whether or not he was a good man. At the moment with his character, you know how he's quite cutting and he's quite kind of mean.
Oh, very, yeah.
Well, yeah, very.
And there was that bit where that male soldier died, and he was just like, he's dead already.
Yeah, and when they fell into the human remains, his sister was like, "Is he in here?" And he was like, "Yeah, he's top there."
He's the top bit. Say a few words. It's very like.
At the moment, that's kind of quite a novelty with him being so mean, because none of the recent Doctors would have spoken to anybody like that. They've all been quite compassionate, and I mean, think about Tennant's. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Compare that to Capaldi's.
He's dead already. Yeah. Swallow this. It will help us on our way.
So that at the moment is a novelty, but I wonder how long that will keep me liking the Doctor.
You like him because he's a bastard?
No. I think I need a little bit of compassion from the Doctor.
Okay. Oh, I see. I see. So you need him to eventually show a bit of heart.
I think I will. I liked I thought Clara was good again.
Yes. She has been a lot more likeable this series. And likable.
More interesting.
Yeah, I think so. I've said likable, and I thought, no, I don't mean just nice. I mean interesting.
Yeah.
I mean someone that you actually kind of think, that she's actually fun to have around.
Yeah. There were elements of it I liked, but the overall kind of, it's just not my kind of an episode.
The someone in the chat, and apologies, I missed who, said that they wish the episode was longer, and I must admit, I was waiting for it to kind of finish when it did. There didn't seem to be enough plotline there, and you can kind of see there wasn't enough plotline there because they actually tagged in that Mr. Pink stuff at the beginning, and the Mr. Pink stuff was fine. Obviously, that's setting up something. It's introducing a new character. Got no problem with that. But the episode itself didn't, or the bad guy plotline itself didn't fill up what they had.
Now, do you have your vote thing enabled?
Yeah.
Let's do a vote.
Okay.
Did you like the episode? Yes or no?
Well, I think like and dislike is too strong. How about good, average, poor? Okay. What did you think? Let's say good, average, and poor. Okay, let's open up that vote then. Okay, so all you need to do here to get involved in this vote, guys, is if you thought it was good, just type !vote space 1. If you thought it was average, do !vote space 2. If you thought it was poor, do !vote space 3. What did you say? What did you think?
I'm sorry, for me it's poor, but it looks like I'm in the minority. I see lots of ones coming up.
You can be in the minority, it's fine. I think I'd put it in the... What would I do? It's not... last week, after we watched it, there were so many cool little lines and there were so many cool things. I really wanted to watch it the next day, but I held off a couple of days and then we watched it a little bit more midweek. I don't want to watch that one again. Well, I'm sure we will watch that one again, but we'll probably rewatch the whole series at some point.
Schoolgirl Hoovian hasn't watched the episode yet. If you don't mind spoilers, then it's great to have you stay with us, but we are going to talk about everything that happened in the episode. So if you don't want spoilers, maybe watch the recorded version.
Yeah. We are very much talking about what's going to happen in there, so I would stay out of that one. Robin Rocker says, Clary, don't feel bad. The episode is fresh, so people are going to rate it high right now. Scott Alonso, though, says he didn't really like it all that much. We tend to be a bit weird. We either tend to really like things the first time and stay there, or we dislike things and then rewatch them and like them a bit more the second time. So we may like this.
I think also I do have, because Doctor Who is so varied, there are particular types of episode which I really like and particular types which I don't. Yeah. So I possibly do have stronger feelings on this.
This is true. Maybe then we have to be kind of more say like, okay, so this was a Dalek episode. Was it a good Dalek episode, an average Dalek episode, or a poor Dalek episode? Maybe it needs to be more kind of along those lines because it is a bit more complex. Like you said, it is. There are types of episode. I would say out of a Dalek episode, it was average because it did have
Doctor Who episodes. Full stop.
It's not going to be in my top 10 or even my top 100. I did like the Doctor's comments again. I did like the his banter. I did like Clara. I actually quite like the Mr. Pink character, and I also liked the idea. I mean, it's very heavy-handed again, but the the Doctor's like, oh, I don't like soldiers. You can't come along. Obviously, Mr. Pink's going to be a soldier, and there's going to be a can I take him along at some point. Maybe I'm being too. Maybe when I'm saying I like these parallels, maybe I'm actually being a bit kind of low because maybe they're being too heavy-handed with these. I think there's going to be a lot of things that there's going to be kind of two sides of. But it's cool. Right, should we have a look at what people see?
Yes, let's.
Okay, so good 33, average 6, poor 1.
Well, that's good. That's good.
That's good for the show.
It's good for the show, and it's good that lots of people enjoyed it.
Okay, let's change the vote. Let's do the vote again. Let's change it slightly. What did you think about it in comparison to last week? Okay, what do you think about it? Do you think it was? Do you think it was better than last week? The same as last week? Just or worse? So better, same, worse. Okay, and I'll open up the vote on that one. Looks like some people have put some questions here. Let's get some points here while they're doing it. Alvin says this probably won't all fit on the screen, so I'll read it out. But you can see it kind of appear here. Alvin says, "I love the." If you want to put your comments, by the way, ! Question, and then should appear, and I can put some up. He says, I love the episode idea, but felt the telling was kind of weak. I like that the Daleks have become scary again and have killed people. I felt Danny Pink was thrown into the hell of it, and it felt like the episode just cut off. What is Rusty up to? Was he true as he said? And why is Missy collecting characters who don't seem important? I thought the Missy bit was fine, actually. It was a little reminder of that there's a character out there and something's coming. So that's quite cool.
I was asked about the Missy.
Any thoughts on Heaven and Missy now that another person has sacrificed themselves, has gone there? I didn't think of it in the kind of sacrificing themselves, but I think we're not supposed to be able to think so far. I think it's
Do you know what that kind of reminded me of in a weird way? Push. Do you remember in that series how that lady just kept looking up and all the way through and kept being like, "Who is she? Who is she?"
Yeah. She appeared in little slats and things like that. Yeah, absolutely. So that was yeah, I mean that's.
Will I have some water?
Yeah, of course you can. That's definitely what it's supposed to be. There's been various people I've seen in the chat here making various predictions. There's an old Time Lord female called Rani, and some people have asked, is it her? Some people have said, is it Clara from the future? Some people have said, is it a version of River Song, because she uses the phrase, but it's my boyfriend. And then other people have kind of said, well, I hope it's someone completely new because I don't want it to kind of change my thoughts about the characters that are in there already. There are kind of some rumours that Clara may be leaving at Christmas. Nothing.
Heard them.
Well, some people were mentioning on chat. Apparently, there's been a story about it, but nothing's been confirmed, and there's definitely nothing official.
It'd be a bit annoying if she's just turned interesting and then she goes.
It would, but Capaldi's only just started, so traditionally, if there is a tradition, the companion has to. Something needs to change every so often, doesn't it? Something has to change. It's I would be.
Rose did a whole series.
Rose did 2 series. I think Amy did.
She did a whole series when the Doctor changed.
Well, I think Christmas is the end of is a whole series. Right. Sorry, I don't mean leaving mid-series, but I think this is her last. This could be her last series.
Can we call up that vote? Yeah,
let's call up that vote. Better 3, same 10, worse 18, and you can see that here if you're looking on the on the screen there. So same on worse seems to be the general ideas. C. Gibson says what's your favourite overall scene of tonight? That's a good question. Favourite overall scene? I quite liked the bit where they got miniaturised and then they kind of picked up the little pod with the minute and they all kind of looked around and I think Clara said something along the lines of, this is scary, and looked at the floor, and then the Doctor saw them going into the Dalek and said, yes, it is. And I thought that was a nice little It was a nice bit of dialogue, but also kind of showing where they were going and things. Matthias thought the bit where they went through into the Dalek's eye was a bit kind of 70s, but I thought the Doctor kind of... I like that.
No, I agree with him. Well, yeah, it was cool, but it was a little bit on the 70s side.
It was, but you know how there's like little images of the Doctor you always kind of see around. They use as like posters, and for David Tennant, it's like sonic screwdriver at the camera, and that kind of thing. For Matt Smith, it's probably, I don't know, spinning and shouting Geronimo or something. For Eccleston, it's shouting "Everybody Lives" with his hands out and things like that. But I don't know, maybe for Capaldi, it might be a kind of a kind of a reaching through it. Which is quite cool. Jen Devine says, I liked the episode very much, but I felt it was too short and it wasn't as wow as the first episode. I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you liked it. I mean, maybe if it had been longer, it would have been better, because there maybe would have been more time for more scenes that were dialogue based. I don't know. Length is a tricky thing. Because it always depends what they do with that length. If it was just more shooting, I'm a bit... I always find my problem with shooting scenes in Doctor Who is that they very rarely achieve anything. And, they often just seem to be there to show that the Daleks are invincible while they wait for the Doctor to do whatever it is they're going to do. Now, me and Clary watched a Doctor Who series called Web of Fear, Patrick Troughton, a while ago, and there was a shooting scene in it. There was a load of Daleks versus... a Yeti. Sorry, restart. Sorry, it was a load of soldiers versus a Yeti. It wasn't a Dalek episode, but it was a big rat-a-tat-tat thing. And but the Doctor wasn't in it, and it was just shooting. But there was a real narrative to the scene. The Yeti were kind of walking forward. The Brigadier was there. It was the first ever Brigadier episode, as far as I'm aware. And they were all shooting, and the Brigadier had to fall back. And as the Brigadier fell back, the two men he was standing with were then killed. And then the Brigadier fell back again. He wasn't being cowardly. He was just being kind of like strategic. And then... each kind of guy, the military guy was kind of being killed there, but they kept trying new things. Like they tried throwing a shot at them, and then they tried using lots of machine guns, and they tried kind of trapping them in, and then eventually they then had to kind of climb over something, and the Yeti couldn't stop, and then eventually they lobbed a grenade back, and that managed to kill the Yeti. Now I'm probably explaining it badly, but my point was the scene, even though it was an action shooting scene, it had a beginning, it had a middle, it had an end. There was a plot in that action scene, whereas the Dalek scenes tonight, I don't know about you, but they were just like, here is a scene of two people shooting at each other for 30 seconds. Yeah. There'll be a couple of people that die. There'll be a Dalek that explodes. But overall, there's nothing actually happening. It's just like, these guys are shooting. While the real action comes somewhere else.
Yeah.
I monologued.
You did.
It was a good one, though.
You should get Leon.
I should get Leon. Hey, Lee, I did a...
You could have, like, monologue wars with Lee.
Monologue war. I could give him a go. So,